All right. Hello. We're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 5 of Create a Christmas. We're here today with the most talented Jim Suzio, and Jim's going to be working you through your project today. So we have a lot of things going on. I will pin the address for you to register to win the Brother Scan and Cut. Other way, this way, back there, that one. That we're going to give away at the end of the 12 days. So that's what's happening. What else is happening, Jim? Let's see. That's about it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So anyhow, I'm going to turn it over to Jim. He's going to have him scoot over. I'll pin the comment in the, the registration to win, or go to amybachman.com. It's on there.
Yeah, they'll be in the comment. Yep.
I know. So we're excited. So let's see. People are popping on. Say hello, everybody. Pop in the comments. So, all right, Jim, it is all yours, buddy.
Okay. When I came up for this project, I was trying to think of something to help out Amy to do today. And when I was cleaning out my bin, I thought I have all these scraps. I need to make something out of it. So what we're going to do today is recycling our scraps to make a project. And the way my scraps came from was we had gotten this kit in, well, actually the pattern, to make a quilt. And I went and cut all the fabrics together and came up with a quilt, wall hanging, table runner, whatever you want. Okay. Which turned out kind of cute, I thought. And of course, made a lot of kits. Now, I will warn you, we do have a couple kits left in stock if you're interested in making one just like I have here. So I have there's more than enough to make the quilt. And that's where my little dilemma came up with, was just like, what am I going to do with all these leftovers? Because you do get quite a bit of leftovers sometimes when you're working with, if you decide to make it a certain size. So I thought I would put them together and make a serger heating pad, like the type you fill up with rice. So basically it's just fabric tubes all stitched together on the serger, and you have a nice little pocket that you could put in there for your rice. And basically what I did was I put aside all my scraps of strips from the quilt. Okay, these were all cut 2.5 inches wide. They were seamed together, then slashed apart, and then rotated and done whatever to make the pattern. You could either start with a whole one, or what I did on mine was I actually started on a half one. That way I didn't have to worry about lining up all the seams allowances. So I made it a little easier that way. And on the back side, I just used another scrap of fabric that we had from another project. So basically all my strips were cut 2.5 inches wide. Pretty simple. And I went and stacked them on the serger. And when I went to do that, okay, basically what I have is like my solids, I'll call them that. And then I have my pieced fabrics. So the top of mine will just be all pieced, and the bottom will be like the solid ones. And basically you're just going to stack like a sandwich, and you always want to have your right sides together. So on the bottom, I'll have, let's say, this green one, and I'll take my first stripe collection, put that on top. And then again, I have right sides together. And then I'll put the next one on top. And I'll have like, again, and basically you're just stacking your pieces together. So you're going to stack and serge, and flip it over to the right side. And then again, basically what you have is your two right sides together. This is going to be the inside of the two here. And then we have the back side of it. And I could tell right now the way I stack this, I'm going to have it all striped. So what you need to do is, if you're going to have your back all one color, you'll have the two matching together, and then you'll have your pieced. So you do want to pay attention to how you're laying them down. If you want to have the back of your heating pad all one color, make sure you put all the stripes down together that match. And if you want to have the other side all pieced, make sure all your piece sides go together. So again, to have it like this one, I would put the green print face up, another green print face down, and then I'll have my first piece section face up and another piece section face down. And you just line them up like that. Then now we can see in the serger. I set my serger up for a 3-thread overlock, just the same settings that they had on the machine. I went by those. You may want to do a test sew just to make sure everything looks good. And I'm not planning on cutting anything off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the fabric line up just alongside the side of the blade. That way it'll trim off any little whiskers. And you can serge as fast and comfortable you want. If you want, you could do a 4-thread. Give it a secondary safety stitch there. Everything looks good. The stitches look balanced. And it's cutting right on the very edge. And it looks like it's going to hold up really nice. If you're concerned about it not being a strong, secure seam, then you could go for your 4-thread, just to give it a little more durability, perhaps. And if you're ready, just go and serge. And just go to the edge. And then when I open it up, get to one side, and you can kind of match up the points there without trying. And on the back side, that looks really good. And then so basically what we're going to do is you just kind of pull a little taut all to the one side. And then I would take another strip of my solid, then take one of the piece. So again, on the bottom, I'm going to have the green print, which I'm going to consider as like my overall solid print. The piece I just serged. Then I'm going to take another section that was all pieced together. And it's always going to have right sides facing. And serge the edge. And if you want, you could have actually flipped this over and done this side down so you wouldn't have to worry about the seam allowances from the strip piecing. And I'm not being really concerned about how they all end up at the end lengthwise, because I can always trim it off the square. So when I'm done, because like here, I didn't actually start at the very edge. So I'm just going to trim it all square later on. But you're getting the idea that you're flipping like this. Now this one edge, whenever you're all done, pretty much just, let's say if I was going to finish this as my complete piece, I would go ahead and take it square off the top. Then I would just go ahead and serge the side. And what I might do is I may want to go and change my stitch length to be a little shorter if I want a little more security on it. There we go. And I just got to redo my settings because I bumped one of the switch stitches, sorry. But I would go ahead and serge the edge of each one of these. Keep going around. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and even put in a decorative thread to finish it off. I would go along and sew all 3 sides, leaving the one top open. Then, of course, I'd go to my rotary cutting mat and cut it off square. And then the fun part of taking all the rice. And what I would strongly suggest is that you measure each pocket of how much you want to put in. On my pad that is about finished, we're looking at like a 12-inch pad. So this 12 by 12 took 2 pounds of rice, and I just went and got the rice at the dollar store. and basically just went ahead, had one end opened, took a funnel, put it in. I measured out about 3/4 of a cup and put it in, and I did all the channels like that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 channels. So went through all that, put in like the 3/4. I had a little bit left over that I just kind of went through, sprinkled through to all of them. And then I went and serged the whole top, of course, tucking in my tails as I went along. Okay. And then basically that's how easy it is to make your own little kind of heating pad. You could take this, put it in the microwave, heat it up, for a couple minutes. So it gets residual heat there for you for a while for your back pain or whatever. What we were saying too, if you do like the table runner, like I had done in here, this kind of coordinates with it now. You could take this and put this on your table to put like a hot plate or something on it. And that way it'll protect your countertop or table, whatever, from any kind of heat damage from a casserole, let's say. So it's a good multi-purpose tool there. One thing I may warn you about, depending on the type of fabric you get, this is like a metallic print. And of course, we don't want to put metals in our microwave. So you may want to test it first on a friend's microwave before you microwave it. But just give a little warning that it may not be microwavable. And same thing with if you're putting like a pot on it or something, make sure the pot bottom of it is dry so that it doesn't have any moisture going into the rice more than normal. Okay, Sandra had a question. What's the advantage of using a serger as opposed to a sewing machine? The advantage is that you get your edges finished. Okay, so when you're doing that, if you're going to do it on your sewing machine, you can do that. And then I would suggest then maybe get a double fold bias tape and then just do double fold bias tape around the outer edges of it. And that way you'll get it all finished on the outside. And thanks, Dinah, for that comment about using it for scraps, because that was my idea, was like, what could I do with all those leftover scraps that were too good to throw out? And this was one of them, I thought. And we do got a couple more on Wednesday and Thursday. I got 2 more scrap projects that kind of turned out really kind of nice. But since they coordinate, we're going to wait to show them later. But anybody have any questions or comments, whatever? Again, it's the size of the channels I use. The strips were cut 2.5 inches wide. Again, you could choose whatever width you have for your scrap, but I wouldn't go any smaller than maybe like 2 inches, because then the tubes get a little tiny and it might be a little harder to fill up with rice. That's my only one concern. The other thing would be if you are doing a scrap piece where it's all these little sections like that, if you're concerned about all the extra seam allowances and maybe strain on them by putting the rice in and all the just the abuse that it might get, what you could do is take one of your dog fabrics, the ones that you have left there that want to use, and use that as a liner. And the advantage of that is that when you fill up the bag, actually, or the tube with your bag of rice, it's not going to bind up into the seam allowances that go horizontally. So it's a good way to kind of line it like that. Okay, any other questions? So thanks for the comment, Fran. It was a good idea. Sometimes I lucked out. Again, if you want to do it on your sewing machine, it'll be the same method of just stacking and flipping as you're sewing. And then when you get to the end, I would suggest using double fold bias tape and to do like the 3 sides and then fill each one up. What I did is I filled one as I went along. Let's see, I don't have a straight pin here. As I went and did each channel, I went and put a straight pin through it in this kind of straight pin that's shut. That way, if by chance I put the bag down, it wasn't letting rice all over the place. So it was a little easier clean up that way for me. Okay, so if that's it, any more questions? So thanks for watching. Be sure to check in tomorrow with Amy. She got a cool project going on there. And I hope to see you soon. So take care. And remember, the more you sew, the more you know. Take care. Bye-bye.